The scent of white lilies and fresh, cut roses hung heavy in the air, a fragrant shroud over the nervous anticipation that shimmered through the grand ballroom. Alara Vance, soon to be Alara Thorne, stood before a mirror, her wedding gown a cascade of ivory silk and delicate lace, a masterpiece of expectation. Her reflection showed a woman on the precipice of a perfect life, a life meticulously crafted and presented. Yet, beneath the flawless makeup and the carefully pinned veil, a tremor of unease, a discordant note in the symphony of her impending happiness, played a silent, unsettling tune. Just 3 days prior, the world had felt different. The air had been thick with a strange, almost electric tension, not of joy, but of a forgotten past stirring. It was the afternoon of the final dress fitting, a whirlwind of tulle and last-minute adjustments. Alara had slipped away, ostensibly for a moment of quiet, but drawn by an inexplicable pull towards the secluded, overgrown wing of the old Vance estate. It was there, amidst the dust, laden antiques and the ghosts of forgotten ancestors, that she found him. By the way, before we continue, if stories of unsolved crimes, baffling evidence, and the relentless pursuit of justice intrigue you, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button if you want to see more deep dives into the unknown. Subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And please share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know what country you are watching this from. We would love to tell more crime stories from your area. Now let us get back to the story. Lysander Blackwood, her mother's estranged brother, a man spoken of in hushed tones, if at all. He had arrived unannounced a week earlier, a gaunt, intense figure with eyes that seemed to hold the weight of unspoken histories. His presence was a ripple in the calm surface of the Vance family's carefully curated existence, a reminder of a darker lineage they preferred to ignore. Lysander, a self-proclaimed scholar of forgotten sciences, had a reputation for eccentricity, for delving into obscure texts and pursuing knowledge deemed dangerous by polite society. He had been banished from the family's inner circle decades ago, a consequence of some unnamed transgression that had left a permanent stain on their pristine name. Alara had always been curious about him, drawn to the forbidden allure of his mystery. He was the antithesis of everything her fiancé, Alaric Thorne, represented: predictable, polished, and utterly conventional. Alaric, the sign of a powerful real estate dynasty, embodied stability, a future of gilded cages and predictable routines. Alara had convinced herself this was what she wanted, what she needed. But Lysander offered something else, a glimpse into a world untamed. A whisper of rebellion she had long suppressed. He had been standing by a tall, arched window, the afternoon light casting his silhouette in sharp relief against the dust motes dancing in the sunbeams. He turned as she entered, a faint, knowing smile playing on his lips. His eyes, a startling shade of pale brown, seemed to pierce through her carefully constructed composure, seeing the raw, unacknowledged yearning beneath. "Alara," he said, his voice a low, resonant murmur that seemed to vibrate through the very foundations of the old house. "You look troubled, little bird, even on the eve of your grand wedding." She had tried to dismiss his words, to maintain the facade of the happy bride, just pre-wedding jitters, Uncle Lysander, nothing more. He had stepped closer, his presence a strange blend of discomfort and magnetic pull. The air around him seemed to hum with an unspoken energy, a faint, almost metallic tang that was both unsettling and strangely intoxicating. Jitters, or the quiet scream of a soul yearning for something it cannot name, something beyond the gilded cage you are about to enter. His words struck a chord, a truth she had buried deep within herself. The pressure to be perfect, to embody the ideal wife for Alaric, had been suffocating. The Thorne family legacy was immense, their expectations even more so. Alara had felt herself shrinking, conforming, losing pieces of herself with each passing day. They spoke for hours that afternoon, not of wedding plans or societal expectations, but of forgotten dreams, of the wildness of true passion, of the suffocating nature of convention. Lysander spoke of ancient knowledge, of the hidden currents that flowed beneath the surface of reality, of the power that lay in embracing one's true, untamed self. He spoke of the Vance family's hypocrisy, their self-righteousness, their dismissal of anything that did not fit their narrow worldview. He spoke of a past slight, a betrayal that had festered for decades, a wound inflicted by her own grandfather that had never truly healed. As dusk settled, painting the dusty room in shades of violet and rose, a strange intimacy bloomed between them. It was an intimacy born not of love, but of shared rebellion, of a momentary escape from the suffocating expectations of their respective worlds. He reached for her, placing his hand on her thick thighs, his touch surprisingly gentle, yet imbued with a raw, undeniable power. Elora couldn't resist any longer. His touch felt like nothing her man ever made her feel. She did not hesitate and gave herself in. She led his hand further down between her legs. She let him feel her heartbeats, not from her heart, but from a body part that throbs and secretes a slimy juice. From that moment forward, they both clashed their bodies and smashed in a raw and passionate and explosive act neither could ever fathom being capable of. In that moment, the world outside, the wedding, Alaric, all faded into a distant hum. There was only the quiet room, each other's bodies, the fading light, and the dangerous allure of the forbidden act they couldn't resist. The act itself was brief. As you know, men nowadays don't last that long. It felt almost clinical in its detachment, yet charged with a primal energy that shocked Elara to her core. It was not love what they had done, nor even lust in its purest form, but a desperate, fleeting assertion of her own agency, a defiant scream against the confines of her impending life. When it was over, a cold wave of regret washed over her, chilling her to the bone. She had crossed a line, a boundary she could never uncross. Lysander, his eyes still holding that unsettling knowing gaze, simply smiled, a thin, almost triumphant curve of his lips. "Now," he murmured, his voice a silken thread, "you carry a piece of true freedom, Elara, a secret that binds you to a different path." She had fled the room, the old house, the very memory of that afternoon, trying to scrub it from her mind, from her skin, from her soul. She plunged back into the wedding preparations with a frantic intensity, hoping to bury the transgression under layers of tulle and floral arrangements. The wedding day arrived, a blur of smiles, congratulations, and the heavy weight of a secret she vowed would die with her. By the way, please consider liking this video, telling us your city or country in the comments, and subscribing to our channel for more true crime stories. Your support helps us bring these intricate cases to light. The honeymoon began with the promise of paradise. Alaric had chosen a secluded villa on a private island in the Maldives, a haven of turquoise waters and pristine white sands. For the first few days, Elara almost believed she could outrun her demons. The sun was warm on her skin, the ocean breeze a gentle caress, and Alaric, attentive and devoted, seemed to embody the perfect husband. She tried to lose herself in the illusion, to believe that her fleeting transgression with Lysander was nothing more than a bad dream, a momentary lapse in judgment that would never surface. But then, the subtle changes began. It started with an itch, a persistent, almost imperceptible prickle on her inner thick thighs, near where Lysander had touched her when they last smashed. She dismissed it as a mosquito bite, or perhaps a slight allergic reaction to a new sunscreen. Then came a faint, metallic odor, a scent she initially attributed to the exotic flora of the island, or perhaps a strange spice from their gourmet meals, or the usual vagina odor most, if not all, women have these days. A natural scent to some people. It was fleeting at first, easily ignored amidst the luxury and romance. A week into their honeymoon, the symptoms intensified. The itch became a burning sensation around her labia minora and labia majora. For those who don't know, those are the two pairs of fleshy folds that make up the external vagina muscles, or as some Americans call it, coochie lips. The faint odor grew stronger, more acrid, a sickeningly sweet smell that seemed to cling to her, no matter how many times she showered. She noticed small, red lesions appearing on her skin, clustered in the intimate vaginal areas, then slowly spreading. They were not typical rashes. They were raised, almost nodular, with an unsettling, gelatinous quality and looked almost like rotten mango. "Are you all right, my love?" Alaric asked one morning, his brow furrowed with concern as he watched her apply cream to her vagina. "You seem a little off. Sex felt sticky last night. Everything good down there?" Alara forced a smile, batting away his concern. "Just a bit of heat rash, darling. Nothing to worry about. I think I got my periods last night." She was terrified, a cold dread coiling in her stomach. This was more than a rash. This was something alien to her, something horrifying. Over the next few days, the lesions multiplied, growing larger, darker, turning from red to an angry, purplish hue. The skin around them began to soften, to feel spongy to the touch. The odor became unbearable, a stench of decay that permeated their luxurious villa. Clinging to the silk sheets, the plush towels, even the fresh ocean air. Alaric, initially concerned, was now visibly repulsed. He tried to hide it, but his eyes betrayed his growing horror. "Alara, we need to see a doctor," he insisted, his voice strained with barely contained panic. "This is not normal. Something is terribly wrong." She resisted, clinging to the desperate hope that it would simply disappear, that this nightmare was a fleeting hallucination. But the mirror showed her the horrifying truth. Her once radiant skin was now a patchwork of putrid lesions, some weeping a viscous, yellowish fluid. The smell was overwhelming, a constant reminder of the decay consuming her. When she checked her coochie area, same was happening. Her vagina was creaming, and one morning, she woke to a chilling sensation, a faint movement beneath the skin around her. A scream caught in her throat, a silent, primal terror. She stared between her legs, where a lesion had broken open, revealing not flesh, but a squirming, milky white mass, maggots. They were there, beneath her skin, feasting, growing, consuming her from the inside out. Alaric, roused by her strangled cry, rushed to her side. His eyes widened, his face draining of all color as he saw the horror. He stumbled back, a guttural sound escaping his lips, a mixture of revulsion and utter disbelief. "What is that?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. "What is happening to you?" Alara could not speak. She could only stare at the living horror consuming her, a grotesque manifestation of her secret, her betrayal. The paradise of their honeymoon had transformed into a living hell, a chamber of horrors where her body was slowly, agonizingly, rotting away. Alaric, despite his revulsion, tried to act. He called for the villa staff, for emergency medical assistance. The island's small clinic was ill, equipped for such a horrifying malady. They airlifted Alara to a larger hospital on a neighboring island, then to a specialized medical facility on the mainland. Doctors, renowned specialists from around the world, flew in, baffled and horrified by her unprecedented condition. They ran countless tests, took biopsies, consulted with infectious disease experts. The consensus was always the same: they had never seen anything like it. Her body was undergoing rapid, internal putrefaction, a living decay that defied all known medical understanding. The presence of the maggots was not a secondary infection, but an integral part of the horrifying process, as if her flesh was becoming a breeding ground for them from within. Alaric, initially a picture of grieving devotion, began to unravel. The constant stench, the sight of his once beautiful wife transforming into a grotesque, decaying shell, chipped away at his composure. His polished facade began to crack, revealing flashes of a volatile temper, a controlling nature that had always been simmering beneath the surface. He lashed out at the doctors, at the nurses, at anyone who could not provide answers. His grief was real, but it was tainted by a profound sense of disgust and a growing, unspoken suspicion. He began to question everything. "What did you do?" "Alara," he muttered one night, standing over her hospital bed, his voice raw with despair and a chilling undercurrent of accusation. Her eyes, clouded with pain and the haze of sedatives, could not answer. Her body, once vibrant, was now a testament to a horrifying, unimaginable demise. The news of Elara Thorne's bizarre illness and death, shrouded in medical mystery, began to leak to the press. The Thorne family, powerful and fiercely private, tried to suppress the rumors, but the grotesque details were too compelling, too horrifying to contain. The term, precision rot, began to circulate in hushed tones, a macabre descriptor for the unprecedented decay that had consumed her. Detective Isabella Rise was a woman who lived in the shadows of human depravity. Her office, perpetually smelling of stale coffee and old paper, was a testament to a career spent sifting through the wreckage of lives. When the call came in about Elara Thorne, she felt the familiar prickle of intrigue. High-profile cases were often messy, tangled webs of influence and deception. But this one, with its whispers of rotting from the inside, promised something far more unsettling. Reyes was a woman of quiet intensity, her sharp eyes missing nothing, her mind a relentless engine of deduction. She arrived at the Thorne family mansion, a monolithic structure of cold marble and silent wealth, a stark contrast to the vibrant life Elara had once embodied. Alaric Thorne met her at the door, his face a mask of grief, but his eyes held a flicker of something else: resentment, perhaps even fear. Detective Rise. Alaric said, his voice clipped. "I trust you understand the sensitivity of this situation. My wife's death was a tragic medical anomaly." Reyes simply nodded, her gaze sweeping over the opulent foyer, noting the strained expressions of the Thorne family members hovering in the background. "Mr. Thorne. When a healthy young woman dies in such an unusual and rapid manner, especially when medical professionals are baffled, it becomes a police matter. We need to explore every possibility." The initial autopsy reports were a whirlwind of medical jargon and bewildered conclusions. The primary finding was an aggressive, systemic tissue necrosis, unlike anything documented in medical history. The maggots, they confirmed, were not a post-mortem infestation, but had been present and active before death, accelerating the decay. There were traces of a highly unusual bacterial strain, one that defied classification, showing characteristics of Klebsiella granulomatis, the bacterium responsible for donovanosis, but with extreme, never-before-seen mutations. The medical examiner, a seasoned professional, admitted he was at a loss. "It's as if," he had stated, his voice hushed. Her body became a living petri dish for something engineered. Reyes found this phrase unsettling. Engineered. It implied intent, a creator, her instincts, honed over decades of crime, screamed foul play, even if the weapon was biological. Her investigation began with Elara's life, meticulously peeling back the layers of the perfect bride. She interviewed family members, friends, and wedding planners. Everyone spoke of Elara as radiant, kind, a little too eager to please. No enemies, no obvious secrets. Yet, Reyes sensed a deeper current, a subtle undercurrent of tension beneath the surface of the Vance family's polished veneer. She discovered the existence of Uncle Lysander Blackwood, a name that elicited uncomfortable silence and evasive answers from the Vance family. "Lysander," Elara's mother, Evelyn Vance, had said, her voice tight with disdain. "He's always been peculiar. A black sheep. We haven't seen him in years, not really. He only showed up for the wedding, uninvited." Frankly, Reyes filed that away, uninvited but present. A black sheep often held grievances, and grievances could breed dark intentions. She delved into Elara's phone records, her emails, her social media, nothing overtly suspicious. But then she found a series of deleted messages, recovered by a tech specialist, exchanged with an unknown number just days before the wedding. The messages were cryptic, hinting at a secret meeting. "The old wing." One message read, "Dusk, don't tell anyone." Reyes Cross referenced the number. It was a burner phone, untraceable. But her intuition screamed, the old wing of the Vance estate. The black sheep. She visited the old Vance estate herself, walking through the grand, echoing rooms, feeling the weight of history. She found the secluded wing, dusty and neglected, just as the messages described. There, amidst the antique furniture, she noticed a faint, almost imperceptible scent that lingered even now, weeks after Elara's death. It was the same metallic, sickly, sweet tang that the medical examiner had described as characteristic of the putrefaction, but fainter, almost like a ghost of the horror that had consumed Elara. It was a scent that had no place in a dusty, unused room. Rias's gaze fell upon a small, almost invisible scuff mark on the polished wooden floor near a heavy, antique armchair. It was too precise to be accidental, as if something had been dragged or placed there with deliberate force. She ran her gloved finger over it, a chilling realization dawning. A clandestine meeting, a secret, and a scent that tied it directly to Elara's horrifying demise. The pieces began to click into place. Elara's sudden, inexplicable illness, the mutated Donovanosis, the family black sheep with a history of eccentricity and a rumored interest in forbidden knowledge. The secret meeting just days before the wedding. Reyes knew she had to find Lysander Blackwood. He was no longer just a peculiar uncle. He was a person of interest, a key to unlocking the horrifying truth behind Elara Thorne's living rot. If you are finding this story gripping, let us know you are still watching by dropping "Whodunit" in the comments, and please hit the like button if you haven't already.